A small forgotten village sits atop a dense, ancient forest. Mist crawls through narrow, winding paths as the moon casts a dim light over the sleepy cottages. In one of these homes lives Lila, a 16-year-old girl with her loyal dog, Toby. The villagers whisper of dark spirits roaming the forest, tales that have kept everyone close to their hearth at night. The night begins innocently, with Lila fast asleep, curled under a worn blanket, as Toby rests at the foot of her bed. Outside, an eerie stillness settles, broken only by the sound of creaking trees. Toby's ears perk up. He growls softly, sensing something. Lila stirs as Toby darts out through the slightly ajar door, his paws silent on the cool earth. Lila awakes with a start. "Toby," she calls into the darkness. Her voice echoes, swallowed by the silence. She grabs a flashlight and, draped in a thin shawl, heads into the night, her breath misting in the chilly air. Lila's feet crunch against fallen leaves as she steps into the forest. The thick canopy above blocks out the moonlight, and an unnatural fog seems to coil around her ankles. Shadows twist around tree trunks, giving her the feeling she's being watched. Her flashlight flickers, casting long, distorted shapes that vanish as quickly as they appear. "Toby," she calls, her voice barely above a whisper. In response, she hears a faint bark in the distance, luring her deeper into the trees. The forest grows denser, the air heavier. A cold shiver runs down her spine as she hears whispers, a raspy murmur that echoes among the trees. She stops, heart pounding, and suddenly feels the weight of unseen eyes. Meanwhile, back in the village, the people gather in hushed voices, dread lining their faces. An old man, hunched and trembling, murmurs, "The forest spirit, it's awake." The villagers exchange fearful glances. They know Lila has ventured into the woods, a place no one dares enter after nightfall. Back in the forest, Lila's flashlight dies, plunging her into darkness. Panic sets in as she stumbles blindly, calling Toby's name. Then she sees it, a silhouette moving slowly, unnaturally, through the trees. The figure is distorted, its limbs bending in impossible ways. It's draped in rags, with hollow eyes that seem to glow, emitting an otherworldly hum. She stifles a scream, frozen in terror. Suddenly, Toby appears, growling at the spirit, his hackles raised. But before Lila can react, the spirit's gaze falls on her. It whispers her name, its voice low and guttural, like wind scraping over gravel. Shadows coil around her feet, pulling her toward the figure. Her body trembles, and her mind fills with visions of the forest, ancient rituals, broken oaths, and lost souls trapped beneath the trees. Just as all hope seems lost, Toby lunges at the spirit, breaking its gaze on Lila. In a moment of clarity, she turns and runs, Toby beside her. They race through the trees as the spirit's howls echo behind them. It sounds like a chorus of trapped voices, desperate to claim her. They burst from the forest just as dawn begins to break. The village is waiting, eyes wide with fear and relief. Lila collapses, clutching Toby, shaken but safe. As the villagers help her up, the old man warns, "The forest does not forgive. The spirit will return."